Hello everybody, my name is Cotangent Theta, and you guys know why you're here. The big news of the day is the brand new hero, Jean-Baptiste Augustin, or Baptiste for short, who has dropped on the PTR this Tuesday. I'm going to be going over some of his abilities and how I think he's going to be fitting into the current meta. So like Ashe, this is a hero built around a specialized weapon, in this case the Medic SMG/Biotic launcher that he has, which is really a pretty unique weapon. This weapon shoots both bullets and bandages, with each having a separate ammo pool. Now it holds 45 bullets and 10 bandages at once, but each primary fire shot, the SMG shot, takes 3 bullets, so it's really 15 SMG bursts and 10 bandages. So the primary fire burst is 3 hit scan bullets that do 25 damage each. He fires that about 1.5 times per second if you hold the trigger, which gives him a total damage per second of about 112. So for reference, Lucio does 80 damage per second, Zenyatta does 115 damage per second without Discord Orb. So we're talking Zenyatta levels of damage here, at least at mid-range. He does drop off after 20 meters though, so Zenyatta is still overall the better damage dealer at long. His secondary fire is an exploding bandage that heals for 60 healing. He fires at about 1.2 times per second, giving him healing throughput of 72 healing per second, which puts him very firmly in main healer territory. This boy is not an off healer, he is a main healer. He is filling the role of an Ana or a Moira in your comp. And that's before even considering that his secondary fire hits multiple targets in roughly 3 meter radius. It's important to note though that this bandage does not heal himself. His only way of healing himself is his shift ability. His shift ability, Regenerative Burst, is an area of effect healing over time ability. It heals 150 over 5 seconds, so that's 30 healing per second. It's got a cooldown of 15 seconds, so theoretically it can be up a third of the time, but more likely you'll want to save it for when you're personally under attack, because it's your only form of self-sustain as Baptiste. The Regenerative Burst has about a 10 meter radius, and it's not something that you put down like Soldier's Biotic Field. It's just whoever is within 10 meters of Baptiste and in line of sight the instant he pulls the trigger on this move, they are going to get the full healing over time. Doesn't matter if they leave Baptiste's radius or someone else comes into it. It's just the people who are in his radius when he activates the ability. There's no chasing people down to give them heals with this ability while it's active. Now before we get to the real meat of this character that everyone's talking about, his E ability and his ultimate, I'll just cover real quick his Exo Boots, which is his crouch. His crouch actually charges up a super jump. You can charge it for up to 1 second, and after you stop charging, you hold on to the charge for about 1 second. If you're partially charged and you crouch again, you lose your previous charge and you have to start charging from the beginning. You can reach really high places with this, pretty comparable to Ashe's Coach Gun. You're not going to be worried about any kind of high ground that you can't get to with this hero. Alright, now on to the topic that absolutely nobody can shut up about, and that is his E ability, the Immortality Field. Now just the name is ridiculous, an Immortality Field. So I have to give Blizzard props here. I love this from them. This is just a galaxy brain play from Blizzard. What they did was they put an ultimate ability on his E so that they aren't going to have to rework him later. I love it. 900 IQ stuff from the folks at Blizzard here. The Immortality Field is he fires out a drone. He can actually toss it pretty far, it bounces off walls and stuff, but once it lands, it deploys, it floats above the height of heroes' heads, above barrier height so that people can shoot it down, and it forms a cylinder, about a 6 meter radius cylinder. I'm not sure exactly how high it is, but it feels like it's about 10 meters. Baptiste can pretty much just barely jump up above it with his super jump. Anyone in that cylinder, their HP has a lower cap of 20%. So for most heroes this means 40 HP. No matter how much damage you take, a Diva Bomb, a Rip Tire, a Pulse Bomb, it does not matter. You are immortal while you are in the Immortality Field. Now the drone itself that generates this field actually can be destroyed. It has 250 HP. It can be hacked by Sombra as well. And as I mentioned before, it floats at a height that is above where you can really protect it with barriers. Unless, someone's right in front of you, you're shooting up at it, the barrier could block that angle, but anyone who is further away is going to be able to shoot that down without any difficulty. No way a barrier is going to get in the way. The cooldown for this is really long, 20 seconds, but the ability itself, the drone stays out for about 7.5 seconds, and there's a bonus 0.5 seconds when the drone deactivates, whether through the timeout happening or from it being destroyed. There's a half-second grace period where the Immortality Field effect continues. So overall the effect is 8 seconds. on a 20-second cooldown, which if you think about it, is almost half the time you can have this field up. More than the time during a match you're going to have this immortality field up. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. Baptiste's ultimate ability is the Amplification Matrix, or the A Matrix for short. Baptiste deploys a 5 meter by 4 meter matrix, much the same way that Mei deploys an ice wall or Symmetra deploys her photon barrier. It's the same kind of user interface for that. And all projectiles or hit scan shots that go through the barrier, as well as some other weird things like Mei's blizzard for some reason. Like, some weird stuff just happens to be affected by this, and no one really knows why. But all of that has double damage or healing, so any of Baptiste's healing grenades or Ana's shots would do twice as much healing. This does not apply to beam weapons like Symmetra's photon projector or Zarya's primary fire. Also of note is that this 100% bonus goes in the same stack as other damage buffs like Mercy's Beam, Supercharger, Nano Boost, which means that all of those buffs will just get added together before they multiply the damage. So a Mercy damage boost plus an amplification matrix is only 230% damage as opposed to 260% damage. The amplification matrix, like any barrier, can be destroyed by Sombra's EMP. So overall, really cool stuff from this hero. I actually like it a lot. So let's talk about some insights into how this hero is actually going to be used. If he's going to affect the meta at all, is he going to fit in with goats, is he going to counter goats? The first thing I want to point out is that Sombra counters the hell out of Baptiste. If there's a Sombra on the field, it's John the Baptist that's going to get dunked. Her ultimate EMP does destroy Baptiste's ultimate, the amplification matrix, and her E ability, her hack, can be used to cancel out Baptiste's E ability, his immortality field. Now, a lot of people are saying that Baptiste is going to be good in 3-3 comps or GOATS comps. I kind of have to disagree there, because right now if a main healer is employed in 3-3 at all, it's going to be an Ana, even though Moira actually provides more AoE healing output. Ana's Sleep and Nade are just too good to trade for Moira's increased healing throughput. Now, Baptiste does bring his immortality field and amplification matrix to the table, but these aren't honestly good with 3-3. They're not good for it. Immortality field, in theory, sounds like it should be good with a 3-3 comp because everyone's so tight, they're grouped up, everyone can be in the field at once. The problem is that immortality field isn't good when you have to put it in the open because of how easy it is to focus down. Just a stationary 250 HP target that you can't even protect with a barrier. The only way you can really get use of it out in the open is for a really quick high impact combo. For example, comboing it with Rez, comboing it with Death Blossom, comboing it with Barrage can be really effective. But having it sort of be there out in the open for a whole team fight, it's not going to happen. That thing's just going to get destroyed. Like that. And you just get the half-second lingering effect, but that's not going to help you long-term in the team fight. You'd much rather have a nade or a sleep dart. People are also saying it's a counter to Graviton Surge. Again, because you have to place it in the open, everyone is focusing your team. It's not the counter to Graviton Surge. Reinhardt Barrier is honestly a much better counter to Graviton Surge than Immortality Field is, because you at least need to put in 2,000 damage to bring down Rein's Barrier, and you only need to put in like 250 damage to bring down the Immortality Field. And even if not everyone on your team is focusing the Immortality Field, they can still bring everyone else down to 20% before that field is destroyed. So honestly, not a great counter ultimate, I will say. Then we have his ultimate, the Amplification Matrix. These are like his only two non-healing abilities, right? Immortality Field and Amplification Matrix. And the Amplification Matrix is also garbage with 3-3 comps, because everyone is on the ground, everyone is moving so fast with Lucio's speed boost. Not only is it impossible to make sure you stay on the opposite side of it from the other team, it doesn't even help your tanks do damage. The best use of Amplification Matrix in a 3-3 comp is just put it in front of Baptiste and then fire through it for double the healing. And that's honestly kind of underwhelming. Like 150 healing per second grouped up is really good, but it's not good enough to really be a defensive ultimate. Like that's not good enough to heal through Dragon, for example, grab Dragon. So it's difficult to see that it's enough value that you could replace your Ana, replace your Sleep Dart and your Bionade just for these two abilities. Now where Baptiste is going to shine, in my opinion, is going to be when he's paired with mid to long range damage dealers. An Ashe, a Widow, a Soldier, a McCree, right? He stays on high ground with them. He's lobbing healing bandages into his team, all the while he can put his Immortality Field around a corner, right? he's putting it around a corner, he and his damage dealer can peek out and literally just stand still, healing their team or shooting the enemy without any risk of being counter-sniped or anything like that. And the great part about that is that if the enemy does not have a sniper, you don't need to use it proactively. You can use it reactively when someone starts shooting at you from far away. If there is like a Widowmaker or Hanzo or something, you do sort of have to use it proactively to prevent the headshot, but that's still really valuable. You have that up for 8 out of every 20 seconds for you and your DPS partner up sitting in a window or high ground somewhere. Maybe you would have a Zenyatta up there with them too, and then you have some tanks and maybe a short range DPS, maybe a Lucio on point. Now in terms of self-heal or defense against flankers, his regenerative burst isn't much to speak about in terms of defending against a 3-3 rush or a full dive, but against like a solo flanker or two, 30 healing per second is nothing to sneeze at, honestly. And lastly, his A matrix is huge when you have big mid to long range damage dealers with you. Imagine putting that down, your Widow or your Hanzo is body shotting people, just one-shotting them with body shots. Imagine amplified tack visor, imagine amplified high noon, right? He's going to pair really well with these guys. This ultimate, which is kind of a trash throwaway ultimate in 3-3, becomes this really devastating combo ultimate or ultimate just to support your damage dealer when you have that kind of mid to long range damage. So while Baptiste doesn't really do anything to directly counter 3-3 comps or to really directly improve 3-3 comps, I think we're actually going to start seeing viable comps with some split teams, with a main tank core and maybe a short range DPS or healer actively contesting the point, contesting the payload, and Baptiste and a DPS on the high ground covering other angles. What do you guys think of the new Hero Baptiste? Let me know in the comments down below. My name has been Cotangent Theta, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I hope you all have a great day, and remember, if something's worth doing, it's worth doing badly.